Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For all televised Premier League matches this weekend, get a free bet if the team you backed is leading at 60 minutes but fails to win. Max £20, not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Ian Wilkinson, Mark Langdon and Sean Sullivan on the line from our friends at Paddy Power. Sean, Everton hosting the mighty West Ham United, 1:30 on Sunday. Got some prices, and how do you see that one going, Sean?
Yeah, so we've Everton priced at odds on here. I mean, they're 3-4. The draw is 11-4, and West Ham coming off. You think a bit of a moral boosting win there v Chelsea. They're 7-2 outsiders here. Okay,
and how do you see it going?
Again, I think it's priced fairly correct. I really like the goals route again. I mean, again, it's 4-7, both teams to score, yes, but I don't really see past it, and it's 4-6 in the overs. I mean, West Ham, for all the kind of criticism they've got this year, they keep scoring away from home. I mean, they've carried on that form from last year. They scored in every single away Premier League fixture. I think it's the last 11 or 12 Premier League games they've found the back of the net in. Everton at home again, you generally kind of associate them with goals, and the stats back that up again. I mean, I'm looking back here in the last 10 or 11 games, they've scored, I think, in 14 out of 15. So goals again would be the route I'm going down. I think I'll be back in the overs. I mean, at 4-6, both teams to score, yes, at 4-7, they both kind of appeal to me.
He's trying to inject some pace into the team. Mark, do you think West Ham are a better side on the road than they are at home?
I wouldn't have necessarily thought so. I mean, obviously they've had teething problems at the London Stadium, and last year they did very well away from home. But I tend to think over time that does even itself out. But I think Everton are a little bit short. I mean, Lukaku's got a brilliant record against West Ham, if I remember correctly. But I mean, no winning 5. West Ham have only lost 1 of their last 6 matches. There's signs of recovery there from the Hammers, and I think
players coming back from injury as well.
Exactly. The AU was on the bench, wasn't he, against Chelsea? So, against Chelsea in midweek. I think that there's a better look to the midfield. He's really strengthened that up. He's more defensive minded. I know you were saying off air really that it maybe damages their creativity, but I think it gives them
home. Yeah,
it gives them a more solid base. To go with. You've got the
Cresswell's massive.
Yeah, he's
massive
back,
player,
isn't he? So, they got the 1-0 at Palace recently. They've carried that on. They are starting to tighten up defensively. The only goal they've conceded in their last few was that very late goal that.
I will add that's sort of coincided with James Collins not being in the side. So I think that's quite a big factor.
I was quite sweet on Everton at the start of the season, but I think they've gone off the boil a little bit. I wouldn't have been in a rush to back them at odds on. I have to say. I mean, I'm not mad on West Ham either, but in a game where not a lot stands out, I think I'd rather have the draw and West Ham on my side.
Wilco, same for you?
Yeah, I think your boys got a good chance here. Obviously, beating Chelsea's going to have given them a lift. I've the last few years, I've always liked West Ham. Have always been one of those teams that I've liked to oppose when they've played at home, and I've liked to get with them a bit sometimes.
What do you think about the strong side that West Ham play Wednesday night? Obviously, it's almost 3 games in a week now, putting the same 11 players out.
Well,
it's the extra day, though, isn't it? It's not Wednesday, Saturday. Wednesday, Sunday should be all right,
I think. Sean alluded to the fact that, 10 games on the trot, on the road, they've scored a goal. And this really seems a game that it's there for Bilic if they adopt a positive approach. I think 11-5 with the draw inside, draw no bet. I quite like that. I think that's a decent bet.
Okay, yeah. Some love for West Ham there. But what about Lukaku to open the scoring there, Sean? As Mark rightly mentioned, I think he's got a good record against West Ham. Banged in a hat-trick once upon a time, I think. Yeah. And pricey to open the scoring.
Yeah, we love him here at Paddy Power. I mean, we generally go pretty short. And he the amount of times he finds the back in that first, and we've done our conkers and kind of Monday Night Football and stuff like that, it's unbelievable. So, we're 7-2 here. We're nearly bottom of the market. We're ducking him completely. I'm a huge fan of Lukaku. If you can just find that little bit more consistency, I think he can get right to the top of the game. And yeah, we're 7-2. There's a little bit bigger out there. I wouldn't ask you to bet elsewhere, but we're staying pretty short on that one.
Just to sort of, allude to that though. Outside of Lukaku, I'm just wondering where the Everton sort of goals are going to come from. Really, Balassi, Miralles are pretty. Hot and cold.
Flashes of brilliance from Balassi, but you wouldn't trust
not enough.
him.
The team that's been beaten by Burnley last week, I'm in no rush to back them odds on to beat West Ham.
Okay, let's move on to the second game on Sunday. Southampton hosting Chelsea. How do you, Paddy Power, price that one up, Sean?
Yeah, so I mean, it's about time I suppose to get on the old Southampton bandwagon. I mean, for 3 years, I think I've been looking at Southampton prices and going, geez, I can't believe they're that short. It's just incredible. I mean, it doesn't make any difference who's their manager, who's playing for them. They just live up to, I mean, the prices they're going off. They're 21-10 here at home to Chelsea. Chelsea are 5-4, and the draw is priced at 12-5.
It must do something right at that club, Mark, mustn't they? Because as Sean rightly mentioned, regardless of the lineup or the manager, they always turn up a decent side.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I won't bore all the listeners with all the players who've sold. I'm sure they're fully aware. But you need to go from Pochettino to Koeman to Puel. You feel like at some stage there has to be a drop. But there hasn't been, and they just keep on going. I really like the fluidity they've got up front at the moment. I mean, you know, replacing Mane was a really difficult job, but they've done it well with Redmond playing a different role but doing a similar job or at the same time. I mean, Tadic is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He'll probably be the next one to leave. They're very strong in the centre-back positions. I like the goalkeeper. I was looking at the draw in this game. I mean, Southampton, one defeat in their last 16 home matches. That was against Chelsea. And Chelsea have done well since they switched to the back three. It wasn't a full-strength team he played at West Ham on Wednesday. You know, some of the key men, Hazard, Costa.
There's only so much Kante can do.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you know, we're going back to the proper Chelsea team, if you like. Since they moved to the back three, they've played 3 matches. They've won 3 matches by an aggregate of 9-0. I think Hazard and Pedro either side of Costa's working well. I think this will be a really interesting game. I'm not expecting many goals. Both teams look to be doing the right things defensively. I think when the goal expectation drops, the draw, rises the likelihood of a draw. So I'll go for that.
Okay, Wilco, for you?
Yeah, I think it could be this. This appears to be like the game of the weekend, really. I really like Southampton for the reasons that we've already discussed. I think I'd quite anticipate quite an attacking game, really. I see that the overs-unders is 5-6, your choice. I think...
so you think goals?
Well, yeah, I mean, Southampton, for all that we've said about... the quality of the defences. You know, Southampton have kept 1 clean sheet in their last 10 matches at home. You would expect Chelsea to adopt a positive attitude, and I would imagine now that Southampton in the position that they're in, they would anticipate that they can challenge and give teams have a good go at teams when they're playing there on their own patch. So I'd just veer towards the over 2.5. Actually, I think 5-6. I think that's a decent price.
Do we think that Chelsea are going to set up the same every week, Mark, now with this back three?
I think they will for the foreseeable, as long as the defenders are there to be able to play. Because it gets the best out of Hazard and Pedro, or particularly Hazard, because he has less defensive responsibilities, really, because Alonso
He's playing
behind.
almost a free role now,
isn't
he?
Yeah, because Alonso's already kind of like a left-back behind him. And then they've also got the left centre-back, which at the moment is Cahill, so they've got a lot of cover there. I think Kante is used to playing in a 4-man midfield. I mean, a lot of teams like to play 5 in there now, but Kante can almost do the job of 2 people.
Yeah.
So there's no problem there. Matic and him sort of just sitting in front. I mean, Victor Moses has been a revelation at right wing back as well. So, I mean, I tipped Chelsea at the start of the season, went off them completely a few weeks ago, but they're sort of back involved now. This will be a good test as to where they're at. I'm interested to hear Sean's views on this game, actually, because, couldn't have been an easy one to have priced up, Sean.
No, it was pretty difficult. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I think Southampton are at the stage, like, I mean, the way they kind of played, that Chelsea will go there and nearly be happy with a draw. I mean, it's amazing to think that if they went there and came out there, I don't think Conte would be overly disappointed with it. It took me, I mean, I'm a slow learner. Like, I mean, it took me years to kind of get on board with this thing with Southampton. I constantly was laying them and absolutely doing my conkers. I just couldn't keep up with it. Now, eventually, I've just come full circle. I'm the biggest hipster out there, and I absolutely love them. I mean, the angle in with Southampton, it's clear as day, is Charlie Austin. I mean, the man's goals per min ratio is absolutely ridiculous. It's insane over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's even better for Southampton. For all the credit we can kind of give Southampton, there's not that many goals elsewhere apart from Austin in the team. There's a lot of guys that create very well, as we alluded to there with Tadic, but guys who actually get a lot of goals in the team, it's not really there, and it all kind of comes down on Austin. Again, we're pretty short on him here at 4-1, I think, first goal, but the key to Southampton at the moment is Austin. You keep Austin fit, you keep his confidence level high, and I think like a top 6 finish, that kind of stuff is right there for them this year. I mean, I'm really, really impressed with them. Chelsea have massively improved. Again, I think there was a massive overreaction to a couple of games. Conte had to find a system, he had to feel it out, and looks like he's got there, but I can't wait for this match. It should be really, really good. I think it's priced if I was having a bet in the win-draw-win market, I'm probably coming down in the draw as well. I think I see it being tight. I see it being a really, really decent game of football, an intriguing game in terms of finding out where these two teams rank against each other over the rest of the season. But yeah, it should be fascinating stuff. But I think a lot of it does hinge on Charlie Austin.
What price is no goal scorer in that game, Sean?
No goal scorer is an 8-1 shot.
Interesting. And do Paddy Power still offer the score-win double? So you give a mention to Charlie Austin, sort of anytime scorer in the Southampton win.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's called the Wincast. So yeah, we have Austin to score anytime basically, and then Southampton to go and win. As I try to kind of bluff here while I'm trying to find the market extremely quickly.
But that's sort of a bet that you would sort of be interested in, sort of almost every week with Southampton.
100%. I'd imagine it'd be priced up. I think it'll probably be priced up around. I'd imagine maybe around the 7-2 mark. And I mean, it's a decent bet. I mean, if Austin gets in the score sheet, you'd really fancy Southampton to go on and get the job done.
Okay, right. We'll head for a quick break, and then we'll tackle Stoke Swansea Monday night game.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For all televised Premier League matches this weekend, get a free bet if the team you backed is leading at 60 minutes but fails to win. Max £20, not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Dave Clark, joined by colleagues Ian Wilkinson, Mark Langdon and Sean O'Sullivan from our friends at Paddy Power. And Sean's going to give us some prices for Monday night's game, Stoke City versus Swansea. Yeah,
well, of course, I'm looking at a computer here spinning around, getting a blue screen of death, which is fantastic. But I do know that Stoke are priced at 90-20, so I can imagine the other two prices are more than likely around the 23-10 for the draw, and possibly around 3-1 there on the outsider. But I'll give you an absolute 100% certain show in about 30 seconds when this thing turns back on.
Wilco, I like Stoke. I like Boney leading the line. What do we think here?
Well, I mean, I've sat on this sofa only 2 or 3 weeks ago and suggested that we wouldn't have to listen to Mark Hughes bleating on Match of the Day after Christmas because he'd probably get the sack. But obviously, Stoke have turned it round a bit. They've got 8 points from their last 4 matches. If you look at the teams who their last 5 home defeats in their last 15 games, they've come 2 against Spurs, 1 against City, 1 against Southampton, and 1 against Everton. So the quality of the opposition that they're playing on Monday when they're playing Swansea is not of that level. Swansea have not won since the depths of August when they won at Burnley. I think they look vulnerable, even though they're playing against a team who are quite moderate themselves. And yeah, 19-20 Stoke. I think that's the way to go.
Mark, for you?
I was looking at the under 2.5 goals as maybe being the best one. Not exactly looking forward to this game, has to be said, on Monday night. But I mean, since Stoke actually decided to play with a goalkeeper this season, they've done quite well since Grant came in. I mean, Shay Given really struggled. It's fair to say. I mean, he was somebody that always relied on his agility. And once that goes, there wasn't much left really for him to do. I mean,
right. He's getting on a bit.
The performance at Crystal Palace, for instance, was one that really screams out. But since Grant came in, 4 of the 5 have been under 2.5 goals. The one that wasn't was in the League Cup when Hull scored in injury time. So he was very, very close to getting 5 out of 5 there. Interestingly, with Swansea, that 0-0 against Watford last week, after the game, Bob Bradley said he picked his defenders on their capabilities to defend against the opposition attackers. So he's really thinking deeply. This is not somebody that I think is going to just say, this is my best 11.
He's doing his homework.
He's really doing his homework, and he looks like he's sort of task number 1 is nullify the opposition and then see what we can do after that. So obviously that means keeping Arnautovic, Shaqiri quiet on the flanks, and obviously Boney, who used to play for Swansea as well. So I think he's somebody that's not necessarily going to be a proactive coach. He's going to really be kind of defensive first and see if they can put the foundations in place. So
are you suggesting that Swansea might become a bit of a boring side?
I think it's probably the sensible thing to do because they were conceding too many goals. And even when they weren't conceding too many goals, they were conceding too many chances. I mean, against Chelsea, they conceded 2. Could have been about 7 or 8 that game. Southampton, they lost 1-0. And I remember the local journalist tweeting afterwards that it was a 1-0 massacre. So clearly he'd been watching the DVDs and they were giving up too many chances. So he kind of gone back to basics. And I think if they do that against Stoke may find it difficult to break them down. So it may be a war of attrition, that game. And
another one for the no-goal scorer,
maybe. Although, I mean, I wouldn't be amazed if Stoke eventually nick the win, maybe 1-0 or something like that. But the unders is the way I'm looking. Yeah.
Sean, any joy with the Paddy Power system out there?
We're fully operational here again.
We've got a show and we're like unders and perhaps a 1-0 as well.
Yeah, we got the unders there, the evens, the overs priced at 8-11. Yeah, Stoke were 9-20. The draw was 5-2, and we're actually slightly shorter in Swansea there at 14-5. I mean, I think I think there's a huge angle here with Stoke, and it's kind of one of those you just have to wait and hope it clicks eventually. Because I've been backing Boney consistently over the last few weeks. It's going to happen. He's getting in the right places. He's starting to improve markedly. His fitness is definitely improving the last couple of weeks. Joe Allen seems to be getting all the credit at the moment for Stoke, and he's scoring a lot more regularly than Boney. I don't even know if Boney scored, to be honest, for Stoke, but it's coming. And like I always go back to Boney when he was at Swansea, and I think it was an unbelievable record. It's been like 45% of Swansea's goals came from Boney when he was on the field. It was insane. Went to City, and obviously things dropped off. He didn't play. I see a lot of similarities in that Swansea team and the Stoke team currently. I think Boney will be the main man for goals. He might be off in January, but in the short term, I think he'll be the man to get goals for Stoke. He's 5-1 first. I think those prices will be disappearing in the next 2 or 3 weeks because I think we'll see him go on a decent run of form. And the moment he does, you can expect that price to be 7-2, 10-3 kind of going forward. So I'd get on him now. I think it's sooner rather than later he'll start to get in the score sheet. And in a game with low goal expectancy like this, you're much better off getting on the first goal market than any time goal scorer. Because I mean, if there's hardly any goals expected, more than likely if he scores, it will be the first one. So I'd be getting on him first goal 5-1. I think it's a really decent angle in.
Okay, that about wraps it up. Thanks for your time, Sean. We'll keep a lookout for the Boney ticking time bomb. Gents, thanks for your time as well. And keep an eye out. We've got plenty of racing reviews, tipping, podcasts, and obviously next week's footy podcast as well.
The Football Postcast in association with Paddy Power, the place to bet on football in play with a huge special every weekend.